opportunity to share our experience and knowledge with your students and colleagues. Uh, so, not taking much time, let's begin. Uh, what I'm going to speak today about, uh, the agenda for this webinar is how we plan our manuscript, then writing the paper, how we use research reporting guidelines, standard practices that are to be used in ethical reporting, journal selection, peer review, and a few key requirements for index journals. So while we're planning, I mean, right at the beginning when you actually start, you finish your research, you do your hard work, and collate all the data with you. The first question you need to check with you is, why did I do this research? So before you start, decide what you want the paper to achieve. Why am I doing this? What do I want to say? What is my message that I want to put across to the other researchers? Who do I want to say it to? Who is the audience? What is the best way to say it? What format should I choose? Where should I say it? What sort of publication or outlet I should choose to put across my paper or my research? So what generally a journal look for is, journals seek out citable manuscripts, kind of research which would help them get more citation. Highly cited articles combine quality. So under quality, it would be the reproducibility, ethics, and readability, along with novelty. So just quality doesn't really work better, but then you need novelty along with it. Then what defines a quality manuscript? I would request all participants to please keep yourselves on mute. Thank you. So reproducibility is the example, is the methodology described in sufficient detail. Ethics was a research carried out in accordance with standard practices. And readability is the language effective enough that the concepts are being adequately communicated. What is novelty? Information about a new drug, new patient population, new problem. Um, in these times, I mean, past 2 years, since 2020, we've been dealing with COVID. So that could be, something new to be published. Definitive data in a controversial area. Um, extending previous findings, large study population, confirmatory data. How do you write a paper? We usually follow the IMRAD structure. IMRAD is introduction, method, results, and discussion, which refers to a common organization structure and the basic structure the original articles follow. So additional elements are the title, abstract, and references. We'll go in detail of each of it. Introduction, trying to restrict the introduction to three components, main three components, a little background info. What is missing? What is your study going to do about it? The objective of the study. And overall, why does the reader want to go further? You need to provide that sort of interest in your introduction, which would show the reader, okay, this is what you need to understand or know from this article. Keep it very simple. If the sentences are getting too long, make it short. Too long is more than about 20 to 25 words. And basically, you're conveying to the reader, why did you do what you did? So if your research does not answer a valid question, it could be considered unethical. Whether it be in whether it be in rats, mice, or humans. So be clear about on the question you're trying to answer. So just helpful tips: keep to the key points. provide context for the reader. Keep it short, concise, aim for 300 words, and keep it simple. Next is the method section. Describe the method for the primary endpoint first. So describe the method for secondary endpoints after that. So every method described should have a result or why is it there. Method details need to be sufficient that someone else can replicate your work. Science is all about reproducibility. Helpful tips: describe the design and controls, example, whether it's a retrospective study or an observational study. Describe the selection criteria, what for patients or what it is about. Use references for standard methods rather than describing in detail. And remember statistical methods, clinical trials, registration, and ethics approval. How these are important, you'll get to know further. Results. What does result present? So result presentation should follow that of the method. That is the primary endpoint first. Figures, most figures in a scientific paper should be able to be summarized in one sentence. They should be your major findings that you want to give emphasis to. If your figure contains too many ideas, it is likely to be complicated to express them clearly. Tables, it is very painful to go through text with lots of numbers in it. Tables makes it easier for the reader and can be used to emphasize on the p-values, as these can be given a column in their own, on their own, and makes them and your results more obvious for the reader. This will help the reader to understand the significance of your findings. uh, Even if a difference does not achieve major statistical, statistically it makes a huge difference. But trended, for example, a p-value, if it is provided, even if it's 0.056 for an example, it is still important. And some results may still be important clinically, even if they do not achieve any further statistical significance. So helpful tips again, keep things simple and relevant. Use figures to illustrate key points. Use tables to show numerical comparisons. Include base data as well as p-values, percentages, confidence intervals, etc. Avoid discussing strengths and weaknesses. Just present the data. Discussion. What does it mean? I mean, in this section, you summarize your main findings, comment on those findings, and connect them to the other research. You also discuss limitations of your study and use these limitations as a reason to suggest additional or future research. So you need to discuss your strengths and weaknesses for your approach, including the methodology. Discuss results in context with other studies. Be balanced, be objective. Okay. Um, Title simplicity and the use of concise statements when formulating your title is highly recommended. Words that carry little or no meaning should be avoided, as they increase the overall length unnecessarily and may mislead indexing services as well. Avoid titles that are too long. The recommended length of a title is no more than 12 words. Do not use acronyms in the title without spelling them out. Avoid irony, puns, and humor in the title, question marks, or exclamation points. Abstract, summarize your study. The abstract provides a very short overview of the entire paper, including a sentence or two about the report's purpose and importance, a sentence or two about your methods, a few sentences that present the main findings, and a sentence or two about the implications of your findings. So be specific and brief. Check journal word counts. Check to see if journal requires subheadings, that is a structured abstract. Don't include references unless you've been asked to do so, and use abbreviations wisely. References acknowledge input and direct the reader to additional information. Dating of references is very important. Cited is important. Cite recent papers. Even indexers look for journals which have used references, recent citations. Don't reference every single sentence. Do reference key points and ideas. Cite original research wherever possible. If you cite it, read it first. Avoid the tendency to self-cite. Check journal instructions for guidance on number of references. So, if there's a specific statement, give a reference. In medicine, especially, currency of references is important as the field evolves and changes rapidly, right? So follow the format stated in the author instructions. For example, it's Vancouver or Harvard or APA. Also look at recent articles from the journal you are submitting to. So if the journal is an open access journal, you are able to look at the articles, go through the article that have already been published by that particular journal. Even if it's not open access, if you have access to the PDF or a print copy, do have a look at that. Okay, it's authorship. ICMJ, I'm sure everybody must have heard. It's International Committee of Medical Journal Editors. So ICMG recommends that authorship be based on the following four criteria: substantial contributions to the conception or design of the work, or the acquisition, analysis, or interpretation of data for the work, and drafting the work or revising it critically for important intellectual content, and final approval of the version to be published, and agreement to be accountable for all aspects of the work in ensuring that questions related to the accuracy or integrity of any part of the work are appropriately investigated and resolved. So, authorship in terms of ICMG definition, for example, if you ask a statistician to help you do the power calculation for your study, select the stats test that is, design the study, analyze the data, or write the stats section. So, that is you can say you can term them or provide them with an authorship. What's a contributor in terms of ICMJ? Who take your data to a statistician, ask them to analyze it, acknowledge this contribution. So you're going to just acknowledge the contribution being given, but they are a contributor and not an author. So you need to be very careful with whom the authorship has been granted. So contributors who meet fewer than all four of the above criteria for authorship should not be listed as authors, but they should be acknowledged. Examples of activities that alone, without other contributions, do not qualify a contributor for authorship are acquisition of funding, general supervision of a research group or general administrative support, and writing assistance, technical editing, language editing, and proofreading. Unethical authorships, coercion authorship, a person in a position of authority expects to be listed as an author without contributing. Mutual support or admiration authorship, adding colleagues, friends who did not contribute. Gift authorship, mentors, key opinion leaders who did not contribute. Inclusion of the above or disputes arising from the above can be reasons for rejection during review or article retraction post publication. Addition or subtraction of authors post submissions is not recommended and increases the chances of rejection. If you need assistance, you can go through this site of authors.lww.com, which is a comprehensive collection of curated author resources, including articles and video tutorials. This is another services, editing services, Walter Kluwer editing services, a storefront for professional language editing, manuscript preparation, and promotional services available to all authors. Okay, we're moving to the next section, using research reporting guidelines. Uh, I'm sure this audience must have heard about reporting guidelines, the Equator network that we use. The reporting guidelines provide a consistent framework for authors, reviewers, and editors. Conforming to guidelines helps authors to improve their chances of acceptance. That's the website. You may go through it. Uh, these are the different article types and guidelines. Clinical trial or experimental study, you can correspond to consort reporting guidelines, systemic reviews and meta-analysis is PRISMA, and so on. So meeting expectations, example consort, an evidence-based minimum set of recommendations for reporting randomized trials. It offers a standard way for authors to prepare reports of trial findings, facilitating their complete and transparent reporting, and aiding their critical appraisal and interpretation. The consort statement comprises of a 25-item checklist and a flow diagram. The checklist items focuses on reporting how the trial was designed, analyzed, and interpreted. The flow diagram displays the progress of all participants through the trial. These are the few experts pulled up from one of our LWW titles, where the checklist item and the article have been matched. Just as set a few examples where these have been um, taken care of. That's the consort flow diagram. What are standard practices in ethical reporting? Publishers adhere to standard practices as defined by a number of professional organizations. Again, you must have heard of them. Committee on Publication Ethics (COPE), International Committee of Medical Journal Editors (ICMJE), World Association of Medical Editors (WAME). Ethics policy, required policies should be clearly stated on journal website and or instructions for authors. Examples include redundant or duplicate publication, conflicts of interest, permissions to reproduce previously published material, patient consent forms, ethics committee approval. So again, these are the examples of how ethics policies are stated on the journal's website. Both Medno and LWW sites have been given. This is how the publisher's ethics policies have been mentioned. Conflict of interest. At the point of submission, policy requires that each author reveal any financial interest or connections, direct or indirect, or other situations that might raise the question of bias in the work reported. If the manuscript is accepted, conflict of interest information will be communicated in a published statement. So this is how reporting of conflicts of interest, if there are none, a simple statement as this can be mentioned. The authors have no conflicts of interest to disclose. Ethical approval. Original research articles describing research on human participants or human tissue are required to describe in their manuscripts ethical approval form from an appropriate committee and how consent was obtained from the participants. Very important. This is one of the examples of reporting of ethical approval. You can read the sentence. This study was approved by the Clinical Research Ethics Committee of Genoa Central Hospital, and it's been referenced. So, it has to be cited. And below you can see the study followed the good clinical practice guidelines and so on. So the clinical trial registry and the registration number has been stated. Patient consent, the protection of a patient's right to privacy is essential. A statement to the effect that such consent has been obtained must be included in the methods section of your paper. If necessary, the editors may request a copy of any consent form. This is how this is one of the example where the patient's consent has been mentioned. So all of the patients were required to sign a written informed consent form, consent before the enrollment. This is non-negotiable. A patient who has not granted consent cannot have their data publicly shared. Patient images. So consent for image use must be granted, and every effort must be made to anonymize the image as much as possible while maintaining the clinical value of the image. The black bar across the eyes is no longer considered adequate. Patients who are minors cannot grant consent. It must be obtained by parents or guardians. Patients who are deceased cannot grant consent. It must be obtained by their legal next of kin. Okay, we'll move ahead to journal selection. How do you usually select or choose a journal? Impact factor or the indexing information that is mentioned on the website. So, is your paper basic science or clinical? Is it of a general nature or very specific? So, you need to, before choosing a journal, you need to understand what sort of article you've written. Does the journal have the right readership, indexing, impact factor? Does the journal offer necessary open access options? Read the instruction to authors, very essential. If your paper does not fit defined article types, then revise or submit elsewhere. Consult your peers and mentors for advice. While choosing a journal, you need to be very realistic about the journal you want to publish in. Like I've listed a few famous journals: JAMA, The Lancet, NEJM, BMJ. I mean, they have a rejection rate not less than 90%. So you need to be very realistic in what kind of journal you're submitting into. Journals do not owe you a review or detailed reviewer comment. So avoiding disreputable publishers and journals. Is the publisher a member of the Committee on Public Ethics, COPE? Is the journal indexed by genuine indexes such as Directory of Open Access Journals, Scopus, or Web of Science? Is the editorial board either non-existent, or is the same person named as editor of multiple journals published by the same publisher? You need to be very careful with that. Is there a statement regarding the peer review process, or that the journal charges an article processing charge, APC, for open access manuscripts? And does the publishing opportunity sound too good to be true? Is immediate publication promised along with a very high acceptance rate? So, in addition, and especially in the case of open access journals, there are a number of important questions authors need to consider before submitting a manuscript. If the journal is a reputable journal publishing open access articles, the answers to all these questions in the slide should usually be a yes. This is one site where you can actually understand how open access works. So journal selection resources, Think, Check, Submit, a program launched by the Open Access Scholarly Publishers Association, OASPA, a checklist to follow before you consider submitting a journal. Okay, peer review. Read and follow the author guidelines and instructions. This should be thoroughly read. So generalist journals more difficult at the top level. So, but even specialist journals can have high rejection rates. So policies and procedures, aims and scope, etc., should be thoroughly gone through. This is a typical editorial workflow. where the submission process happens, then the technical check, editor assignment, initial review, peer review, and education. Review process, what to expect? Assessment that all the necessary materials have been submitted in correct format. This is the technical check. So author may be asked to resubmit submission, reformatted references, improved figure quality, signed copyright forms, structure abstract. Again, that's the reason why we need to go through the instruction for authors of the journal very carefully to understand what sort of reference style format they require or what sort of abstract is required, a structured or an unstructured. Initial review editor evaluates submission for overall appropriateness and or novelty. So submission may be rejected at this point without detailed reviewer comments. Maybe the article or the manuscript is not in journal scope. There's poor language quality and a Me Too paper. That is, it's an addition to the existing research which is not getting anything new on the table and it lacks novelty. Review process, what to expect. Usually 2 to 3 reviewers are assigned for a formal evaluation. So finding reviewers may take days or even weeks because specific subject category reviewers are to be found. Reviewers usually take 1 to 2 weeks to complete review. So please be patient. Do not harass editorial office for contact updates or online submission system will, provide the status to you. Revise, reject, accept, or transfer. So first versions are unlikely to be accepted. Most will either be rejected or given an opportunity to revise. So detailed reviewer comments should be provided, and a revision deadline will also be assigned to the article. So common reasons for rejection. Of course, none of us likes rejection, but then it's important to understand why the article or the manuscript has been rejected. So common reasons for rejection is paper is nothing new, it lacks novelty, paper is not clinically relevant, study design is fatally flawed, fraud, most often plagiarism, rejects are considered final. So appeal processes are provided for instances where there has been a flaw in the review process, not simply because you don't agree with the decision. So do not burn bridges. You may want to submit a different work later on in future to the same journal. Revise. Carefully follow the provided instructions again. Use track changes or different color to clarify revised text in the manuscript. Attach a separate sheet listing responses to referee comments. Include referee comments in response. State upfront, what action was taken, whether done or not done, and then explain the reason. Respond to individual comments. The editor may send the revised manuscript and author responses to referees for a second look. This does take time, and it is not uncommon for manuscripts to go through multiple revisions. Conclusions, again, I'm emphasizing read and follow author guidelines and instructions, very important. Plan your choices of journal based on how closely your article matches their published work. Be very realistic. Use research report guidelines to structure your paper. Definitely important. The review process takes time, so you need to be very patient. Take heed of editor and reviewer suggestions. It's a good learning for you as well. And rejection will happen. Reassess your journal selection, address any comment to improve your manuscript, and then or submit it somewhere else. Okay, I'll move on to key requirements for index journals. Me and my team are involved, are responsible for getting the journals indexed. So we are able to share, the key points, what indexers actually look for in a journal's articles when they are reviewing the journal for inclusion. So again, these are most of these points have been discussed in detail in the previous slides, but I'll just just go through it. Correct grammar, good readability, and flow of language. Clear, brief, and structured abstract. A detailed materials and methods section, including information about study type, design, participant selection, study size, research ethics, detailed methods, and statistical analysis methods. Institutional Ethics Committee approval statements, again, very important. Declaration of informed patient consent, date of approval of Ethics Committee, Ethics Committee approval reference number, and clinical trial registry or protocol number for clinical trials must be stated in methods section. Statement about compliance to institutional animal research ethics and relevant approval reference number and date must be mentioned in methods section for animal studies. Declaration of patient informed consent for case reports. Sufficiently obscured, recognizable patient images in case reports. A black band across the eyes is not enough. Rigorous statistical analysis. Conclusions backed by presented data. Limitations of study. Bibliography of review articles should have majority of recent literature from the last 7 to 10 years. Literature review methodology should be mentioned for all review articles. Okay, these are the abstracting bodies where most of our journals or titles are registered with. So the difference between an abstracting body and an indexing body is that both are bibliographic databases, but then abstracting bodies there's a license agreement between the publishers and the abstracting bodies, wherein there's an agreement that all the journals published by that particular publisher would be registered or visible on the abstracting database. But again, the selection of content that would be searchable on the abstracting databases website is at the abstracting databases discretion completely. Yeah. Okay, these are the indexing agencies. Wolters Kluwer endorses these major indexing bodies only and doesn't recognize other indexing bodies. These are the authentic indexing databases. Directory of Open Access Journals, DOAJ, it kind of whitelists your journals from, being an open access journal. You need to understand that you do not fall under the blacklist or the predatory journal list. So there are 231 journals in our portfolio. Emerging Sources Citation Index, a relatively new database of Clarivate Analytics. Earlier, Thomson Reuters, it was known as ISI. ESCI was launched around 2014-15, and it gives the articles visibility on Web of Science, but the journal is not rewarded with an impact factor. We have 117 journals included in this database. Scopus, we have 150. Scopus, everybody is aware of, is a subset of Elsevier. PubMed Central and Medline both are bodies from National Library of Medicine, NLM, and we have and Medline is considered one of the highest databases where every journal editor would want their journal to be included. PMC, we have 105 journals. Medline, we have 30. And Science Citation Index Expanded, SCIE, is the higher end database of Clarivate Analytics again. which was earlier known as ISI from Thomson Reuters. And this getting indexed, a journal when it gets indexed on SCIE is where it is rewarded with an impact factor. So we have 33 journals with impact factor. Bijal, are you able to see this slide?
No, Mamta, we are not able to see
We
that
can
image which you're
see
trying to.
just, yeah, now.
The image is not visible.
The image is not visible. I'm not sure
Yeah,
what.
ma'am. We just can see by factor 20.
Yeah, but there's a image. Okay. Anyways, it was an image of all our journals which have an impact factor of their cover pages. These are the journals listed with their impact factors. The list of 32 journals with an impact factor, the highest being received by endoscopic ultrasound, which is of 5.628. Asia Pacific Journal of Oncology Nursing was included in SCIE and SSCI in August 2020 and has received its first impact factor of 2.509 this year. 75% of Medno journals this year had their impact factor increased, which is really good part. Okay, yeah, I'm at the end of my presentation.
Thank you so
I
much, Mamta.
Thanks.
We have few questions for you. Okay,
Yeah, sure.
so I'll start with. Like to know about selection of journal in publication.
Uh, is it
I
in
think
the
the
chat?
question is incomplete. Uh, Doctor, could you please elaborate the question again? Meanwhile, we'll move to the next question. It is, which journal is the best for publication of research articles related to life science? It's ICI Journal Master List or WOS or Scopus.
Okay, ICI is Index Scopus, Index Copernicus International. Honestly, we do not, as publishers, Walter Kluwer does not endorse Index Copernicus Journal Master List due to its ambiguous status. So, yes, if a journal is indexed in either Web of Science or Scopus, it should be a good publication to go ahead with. But indexing should not be the only factor for your journal selection. As mentioned in the presentation, do go through other factors also to ensure that the journal is authentic and reputable.
Thank you, Mamta. Another question is it necessary to submit a manuscript to the journal which provides DOI? Because some of the journal indexing in WOS, that is Indian Journal of Natural Science, is not providing DOI.
Okay, Dr. Patel, okay, first I would like to clarify DOI is it's an identifier, it's a distinct identifier for your article, and this is provided by Crossref and not any indexing databases. So a journal, an authentic journal or an authentic publisher, like for example, Walter Kluwer, has a tie-up with Crossref. So any journal which starts is publication with us, right from the first issue, each and every article is provided a DOI, and that's a distinct identifier number which remains throughout with the journal. So DOI is not granted by any of the indexing bodies, but is only granted by Crossref, which helps the citations to happen.
One more question. What is the difference between index journal and emerging sources index journal in WOS?
In WOA, okay, WOS.
Yes.
Okay, between index journal and emerging source index journal, the difference is uh, uh, index journal is a journal indexed in any database, be it the directory of open access, be it Scopus, be it any indexing database where the journal has been indexed, and that information should be clearly stated on the journal's website or journal information. And emerging sources indexed journals, emerging citation sources, ESCI of Clarivate, as I mentioned earlier, is a base level, it's an entry level for Clarivate Analytics, which gives your article, if you are submitting your article, your manuscript to a ESCI indexed journal, your article would be searchable and visible and citable on Web of Science. So it will be there in the Web of Science pool. However, the journal which is indexed only in ESCI will not have an impact factor. But definitely your journal, your article is visible on Web of Science, and it's searchable as well on Web of Science. It will gain good citations for sure.
Few Scopus and WOS journals are not under UGC list. So it is acceptable at university level?
I cannot, as a publisher, I cannot comment on whether it's acceptable at university level or not. But you being indexed on Scopus or WAS and being listed under UGC are two different things. UGC is the University Grants Commission. Again, as publishers, we don't get the journals registered with UGC. But then that's a different criteria. So, you cannot compare with why the journals are indexed in Scopus WS are not listed under UGC. So UGC is a different body altogether. Web of Science, Scopus, or any other indexing database is a different body altogether. So the parameters are different.
Thank you, Mamta. I think we are done with the questions.
Okay, I hope I answered most of them.
So, hello everyone. I have placed one link in the chat box. It is for the feedback and certificate of participation. So, once you will fill in this form, I will get your email address and your name and details. So, we will share the certificate of participation once you fill in the form. Dr. Dahika, feel free to share your viewpoints.
Vijay, there's one more question in the chat box.
No, Dr. Dahika.
Yeah.
Dr. Dahika, can you hear me?
Hello. Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, doctor, we can hear you. I was saying if anybody have any questions, they can get
Yes,
back
yes.
to me. Like you can share the details with me, and we can always answer those questions.
So then we are at the end of this session. Then I request to Dr. Sarita, please go for the vote of thanks. Over to Dr. Sarita.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Dr. Sarita Bhutada, Director of Fihan Life Science and Research Center. And I'm very happy to announce that the more than 100 participants joined this webinar. And first, I would like to thank Mamta ma'am, Senior Managing Editor, Editorial Quality Management for Volters, Clover Madno Publications. Ma'am nicely explained the lots of things like planning, writing the paper, using research reporting guidelines, standard practices in ethical reporting, journal selections, peer review, and the key requirements for the indexed journals. She briefly explains